guys, so it is I think the 5th of January and I'm out here cutting back my knockout rose hedge. There's really no right or wrong way to cut back your knockouts, is what everybody says, but I have my own technique, I guess. I try to cut them back at a node, which I guess doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you look at it. If it's growing and you see this node, you know, this one's pointed to the outside, so cutting above it will get it to growing this way. Had it been turned to an inside node growing back into the bush, this one, for airflow, you wanna make sure you cut those off. So I've gone through and topped them all, and then I'll go back through and kind of weed out the ones that are pointed to the inside. I just start, you know, with when I go to look at what I'm cutting, you know, I come in and I look at the rose bush. These are your main canes. So I don't like to cut the main canes, and you can see that in last year when I cut them, this was the primary height of the bush. Everything else is going to come off the top. So I'm cutting back a little further this year to maintain more of a bushier growth habit. But we'll take this cane. So here's a node here sticking out this direction. This one is pointed toward me, and this one more back that way. So you want to cut just above. See how this node is pointed outward? So to make it a more bushy habit, but I want it to grow more circular and definitely not toward the inside, I'm going to cut it there. And that will encourage the growth to come outward. And that's sort of my technique for how I do this. Here's another node sticking outward, and this limb will end up growing toward this bush, and then this last limb, and so together they can grow a nice hedge. And I just throw them out in the yard.
Yeah, tell her what this is. This is your rose garden. You're trying to make a rose hedge, and last year we had one that was really nice, but you have to cut them back in the spring to stimulate the growth. And these are the ones that we moved from over yonder, right?
These
have been moved 3 times. This is how healthy knockout roses can be. These have been moved 3 times.
Yes, they were. I was trying to think of where we had them.
We had them on that back row, and then we had them up underneath those pine trees.
Yeah, these were up under the pine trees, and I think some of these had been out front. But yeah, we moved them last year, and they did good. This is new growth. This is new growth. This is all new. Looks like
You need gloves on.
this was hit with a weed whacker. We could take it down. It's fine. It's healed itself. But, you know, got to be careful with the weed whacker.
And in about a month and a half, about the middle end towards the end of February, we'll come in here with a good all-purpose fertilizer, and we'll fertilize the dog out of them because they've been asleep. They're asleep right now, and they've been asleep, and as soon as they wake up, the first thing they need is a good breakfast, right? So we're going to give them a good dose of fertilizer and mound them up some more with some more mulch, and they will do fantastic.
They will. They're happy campers.
The ones that I'm worried about, let's show them the ones we're worried about.
Okay, give me 1 second just to get this last.
And you can see how tall it was. We've left one. She left one right here. I don't know if you can see. The light's terrible.
Well, they were about up this high.
Yeah.
And I'm 5'2", so they're about 3 feet tall. And that was last year, and I'd cut them back a couple times through the season.
And you can see the buds, how many buds were on them before we got that hard frost here 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this is their second flush. So the first flush, you know, I mean, it's pretty amazing to see all that in the springtime. But, you know, knockouts bloom all year long. They go through cycles. If you keep them deadheaded during the season, they'll just continue to bloom and bloom and bloom and bloom. And they're pretty resistant to disease. They're pretty resistant to any kind of insect disease, insect problems.
They don't have a lot of powdery mildew.
They don't have a
problems.
lot of powdery mildew, no black spot. You'll see a few black spot on them, but it's kind of rare.
I think that's more of a
we've been real lucky with ours. And but this one over here is the one that we're really kind of concerned about. This is our trellis that we had. We bought that at an auction sale. That's where we bought it. We had an auction, and it was at the auction, and that's where we bought it. But this is a New Dawn rose. We've got a New Dawn growing in here, and a New Dawn growing in here. And we set these out as just bare root roses last year about this time, because I was at Tractor Supply a while ago, and they said they'd be getting their bare root roses in within about 2 weeks. So it was about this time of year last year when we set this out. And you can see what these canes did. I mean, they just absolutely went all the way to the top of that trellis and all the way down the other side. They met.
Yeah, this one goes all the way.
And they met.
Down.
But here's the problem. This trellis has not been anchored very well. And we've had a few windstorms, and it's been knocked over a time or two, and we've broken some of our limbs, or at least damaged them. So roses are pretty resilient. If I could find a spot where we have a there's one that was a break right there. That one did break. Can you see there where the break was?
This one has a break, but it's scabbed up.
And it scabbed up and healed itself. So we're thankful for that, because these bloom on old wood. And if you go to Pinterest or go to someone else's channel on YouTube and look up these roses, they're absolutely stunning. This will all be covered in rose flowers, and but it's it's a second year rose, so we did not get one bloom last year whatsoever. There's another place where it's healed itself right there. So we're hoping that the breaks and the tears that we've got in it now, here's a spot right here. This really needs to be straightened up. See how that is broken right there? But we can heal that if we just straighten it up. It's not much anyway. It probably should come out, but hopefully we've not lost too much of it. And like I say, they will heal themselves if they're not. Plants are like people. Plants are, they have a desire and a want to live. So I mean, the rose is not going to die. We're worried about the blooming. Honestly, we're worried about the blooming. So kind of a self-serving thing there. We really don't care about the rose. We just want it to bloom. Okay, there's that. So anyway, we're hoping for the best with that. If y'all got any suggestions or ideas on how to anchor this trellis, I think maybe some U-bolts in the ground, maybe to tie it to the ground. But as heavy as it's going to be, I'm not sure that would work, even at that. But anyway, there's that one.
I had that tucked in the ground so it would root, and then I would be able to cut it, but it won't reach back down there now.
Now's the time of year, y'all, to cut back your roses, whether it's knockout or anything else. This one here, we'll put a little trim on it as well, but not much, because like I say, I want to see it bloom the first year and see where we are with it. I'd like to keep the New Dawn kind of like it is, and they bloom off lateral cane, so when they start going sideways, it's when they start blooming. So anyway, yeah, that was a bad break right there, but you can see that it's healed itself. And actually, that's the first time I've seen that, so that's awesome. So anyway, don't get too scared. Gardening is a learning experience, and gardening is one of those things that sometimes things work out and sometimes they don't, and you learn with every situation.
This thing's still putting out new leaves, though.
Yeah.
I keep trying to keep them cut back. Those are brand new. Yeah. They ain't even got frost on them yet.
No. Well, we've had some warm weather. We've had a little frost the last few mornings, but it's been in the 50s for the last
and then at the end of this
3 or 4 days, and we got a good rain, and You know, roses can handle
There's
cold
some
weather.
new leaves coming out.
Yeah, sure is.
Hey
But
guys, it's still winter, so
yeah,
let's
it's
not
still
get
winter
beside
time.
ourselves.
Got another 80 days maybe before it gets pretty. But it will. When that sun starts moving, you know, I always get excited about December 21st because that's the equinox. And I say then, well, the days are starting to get longer again. Praise Jesus. And then June the 21st, when it goes back the other way, I think, oh, Lord, here comes the winter. So I'm kind of a weird duck. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next run. I'm planting some bulbs over here. I'll probably shoot a video on planting these bulbs. And show you where we're going to put those and how I do them and what I use to plant them with. I've got a neat little tool that actually we came across it at a yard sale, or I don't know, an auction sale. They still sell them, but you know, when you're as poor as we are, you have to get things on a budget, right, babe? So anyway, thanks for watching. Hey, by the way, like and subscribe, would you?